Batman Boxing Talk, man. We back.
Again.
We back.
What we gonna talk about today or tonight or what we gonna talk about right now is the sport of boxing. How can we make it better? What can we do as fans to make it better? What do you think as a fan could happen to the sport to get the fights that we actually would like to see? What steps can be taken that boxing can be better?
What you suggest?
One thing I suggest is get rid of the sanctioning bodies. That's first and foremost. One champion, each division, and a ranking system that makes sense so that you're not jumping over anybody. Because for Tank to move from 130 to 135 and automatically be the number one contender for Devin Haney's title, I got kind of lost in all that. But I guess that's name recognition. But also that's the sanctioning bodies figuring you got a big fight there, so why not put them there? A better ranking system so that everybody's guys like Tony was talking about this guy earlier that's not getting any shine, but he's giving Sean Porter a tough fight.
Ugas.
Yeah, Ugas.
Yeah, ain't nobody talking about Ugas.
Nobody's talking about Ugas. He's a good fighter, but he won't get the opportunity because his name's not Danny Garcia, Manny Pacquiao, Terrence Crawford, or Sean Porter. And not that these guys don't deserve the recognition that they get, but Ugas should also be mentioned in that class because he's a tough fighter.
What do you think, Brian?
I think that's the easy way out. I think that's what most fans would say without actually thinking in depth how that would hinder boxing. So I think the easy way out is to say to get rid of the sanctioning bodies. But the thing is, you know how many fighters there are in the world? We ain't talking about just the U.S. at this point. We talking about the world. Like, how would you have a ranking system for 30,000 people, 20,000 people, 10,000 people? It's not, you don't have 30 teams. It's not 27 teams to rank. You got boxers all over the world that are professional.
And a lot of them are not ranked right now, even with all these bodies. So I mean, they haven't figured it out either. So,
but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that my point is, if we're coming up with a solution for it, then we have to think out the solution for it. The easy answer is, get rid of the sanctioning bodies. But how does that help when you start talking about ranking these fighters?
Like, say if you had 20 contenders, how would you move to that top 20 contention? Or, I mean, just be ranked, period. I mean, like you said, how would you rank?
Like, what would
the
determine
fighters all over the world?
What would determine how you get ranked? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if we're talking about what's going to fix it? Then we need to talk about what's going to fix it. Like,
how does college football do it?
I'm not sure. Like, I think certain teams get automatic bids and stuff like that, and in that case, you're still dealing with favoritism. So it's like how do you really fix it? If anybody have any suggestions, comment down below. We can chop it up. Maybe y'all got some ideas that we can look at and it may make better sense. But in my opinion, I don't know.
Well, what's the UFC model?
I don't think we pay attention enough to the UFC to know how they do things. We assume that the best people fight the best people because we hear other people say that. We don't actually know. Like, how do we know that it ain't somebody in Thailand that'll beat Bones Jones' ass?
Well, no, I mean, UFC fights, Dana White makes sure. He said he told the dude before that if you champion and this dude is coming up, he's number one contender. You don't want to fight him, then you don't need to be in the UFC.
Yeah, but how do you get to that point? You see what I'm saying?
By the fights that's lined up. They won fights. They are up and coming person.
Okay, so let's take a division for example. Let's use
147.
Yeah. Okay.
I was trying to think of the deepest division. maybe okay. I was gonna say 35.
Okay, we're at 35 then. But I mean, 147. 35 is deeper, you think?
Shit, it might be Lomachenko, Haney, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Richard Comey. Robert Easter just moved to 140, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You got Abdullev, the guy that Devin Haney beat.
Mm-hmm.
You got the tall kid that Teofimo Lopez had issues with.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty good. Then you also got like Luke Campbell, Jorge Linares, Yorikis Gamboa. Like it's a lot of people at 35.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, we could take 47 since those names are more recognizable.
But
So,
let me say this first. As far as, I don't think, like you said, it's no real perfect answer to make boxing, like, perfect for everybody, because you're going to run into problems either way, like you said, either way you go, because ranking is it's going to be a big issue on how someone is ranked.
Right.
But I would love to take out the fact that certain promoters or not just the sanctioning bodies but the promoters and everything who can pay to get their person ranked higher than another person who has put in that work.
but that's what you deal with, because in order to have a ranking system, somebody has to run it.
Exactly. So you have to have. If you're talking about like one governing body, it's always going to be a problem. But we're going to have to, like you said, we're going to have to figure out that governing body's ranking system. And how do you do that? Because we don't know. But go ahead, Brandon.
I just don't think there's a way to fix it. It's no different from
It may not be.
the kid that goes to private school that wants to get the lead role in a play, and because their parent gives more to the school,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't really see a way to fix it unless
Government regulation.
What about
even the government is corrupt, though.
Yeah, that's true. But government regulations, but that'll be over top of everything, and that way, certain shady shit. Fighters would get. I think more fighters would get a chance to,
But the thing is, I think that's what the sanctioning bodies were supposed to be.
Yeah, that's what they were supposed to.
But that's my whole point. Like,
Yeah.
so what's to say that if let's say we came up with worldwide ranking organization or whatever, like, who's to determine that if Bob Arum come and say, here go 3 million, we need such and such rank number one. like how do you like?
Yeah, Alan, you gonna take that money? If we got BAT, you gonna take that money if Bob Arum come to you?
Take that money.
You ain't gonna take the money.
I'm not gonna take the money.
You ain't gonna take the money.
3 million, I might have to take that. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Put somebody at number 3. Hell yeah.
I'm just saying this. Look, I'm gonna be honest. If he came to me trying to corrupt, I'm like this. You talking about 9 million?
Yeah.
Cause you be like, cause you gotta pay Allen 3 million. You gotta pay Brandon. You gotta pay me 3 million.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it. If he's a good up and coming fighter, and but he's just not ranked yet, and somebody want to pay 3 million to get him up there. But see, that's where the corruption comes in.
That's where the corruption comes
Yeah,
in.
because I think you probably be the only honest one, but we gonna outvote you.
Yeah, we taking that.
And then
You sure?
and then
You
gonna
will.
tell you, look,
Have
and
a
if you
seat.
don't want it, me and Brandon to split your 3.
Yeah.
4.5.
But hypothetically, I
Yeah.
think getting rid of the sanctioning bodies, having one organization sanction fights
Yeah.
or
One champion, one division.
determine how people get ranked.
Yeah.
And then I think once you get into, let's say, the top 10 of
Okay,
your weight class.
well. To what you saying? You top 15, top 10,
We
top
got 3
15,
minutes. Mhm.
and under that, another, I guess, wouldn't call it an amateurs, but you let guys work their way up into that top echelon, to whereas they get the fights.
But it's still how.
It's still how.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying
But
hypothetically.
he was going on
You know,
a good thing.
you once you get into the top 10,
Mhm.
then you go into bracket form.
Right. Okay.
And then maybe you get ranked based on your resumes.
Mhm.
You know, who you beat, how you beat them, kind of like how the pound for pound thing is.
Mhm.
And then 1 seed gets the 10 seed, 2 seed gets the 9 seed, and then you bracket it, and then once you get to that, then you can rank it based on how you lost. If you lost to the champion, then you should be ranked number 2. If you lost the round before, y'all can fight to see who should be 3 and 4. And then, I mean, if somebody funnels in from the bottom and takes the 10 spot, that's how I see it. But I think the key is forget the sanctioning bodies, getting rid of all these belts. Yep. There needs to be one boxing champion belt for whatever weight class.
Yep,
so
exactly.
Lightweight champion of the world, and that's it. It shouldn't be no WBC, WBA, whatever.
Somebody also bought. I listened to somebody the other day. I think it was Buddy McGirt, and he was talking about these guys. You know, some of the things that's happening in the ring as far as the deaths, but how these guys are going in the ring. You know, you say you fighting at welterweight at 147, but you get in the ring at 170. You know, that I was saying, well, maybe they should kill that too. All these damn different weight divisions.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think the weight divisions came into play because from 147 to 160 is a big jump. Like, that's like asking Terrence Crawford to fight Canelo Alvarez. Or, like, look at how much of a big deal they make about Canelo jumper. Like, imagine if there was no 168 and Canelo. Like, the next weight class would be 150, 175.
It would be 160 to 175.
That's a big jump, though.
Because you think about this, Alan, look. Are you going to have the champion at that weight class just come in at 175? He's naturally a bigger guy. Right. So if Canelo got to move up all that damn weight to jump to 175, and then what is Kovalev supposed to come in? I mean, at weight time 175, but the night of the fight, you know he's going to be like 190. Canelo's probably going to be like 170. Okay, at the most like 180.
If that.
And
Canelo said he coming in 180, 181.
Okay, well, I don't know. Like,
I mean,
like I said, I kept hearing. What kind of got me on that was I kept hearing today.
Like, think about Jarrett Hurd fighting Terrence Crawford.
Yeah,
and that's 54 to 47. That's a big difference. And you talking about look at Floyd? That's like asking Floyd Mayweather saying, "We know you 140, but you got to go to 160 fight Triple G." That's a big difference.
But Floyd would have the right to say, "Okay, well, I'll fight him, and he got to come down to 155."
But if that's the case, then you defeat the purpose of not having. That's the whole reason why they put those weight classes in for people who is too small to fight somebody that's 160.
And IBF has that, Alan, what you're talking about, the 10-pound
weight clause.
Weight the next. I mean, if you want to go back to it, day of, they used to have day of weigh-in.
Yeah. But I'm saying, okay, but check this out.
You talking about the day of regular weight?
175 is light heavyweight. Mm-hmm. All right, 160 is middleweight. Mm-hmm. So if that would be hard to
15
do.
pounds. That's like asking Sergey Kovalev to go fight Deontay Wilder.
Which would be, like I said, that wouldn't make sense because I'm thinking 160 to 175 and that light heavyweight. But that 160 to 174. That's 14 pounds.
That's too much.
But that covers that middleweight and it eliminates that super middleweight shit.
Look at Mikey Garcia versus Earl Spence. That's 35 to 47.
35 to 47, 12 pounds.
So 14 pounds is worse. It's too much. That's why.
But
those
if
juniors and supers are where they
come in, I mean, because how many middleweights come in at 160 actually?
Everybody.
They weigh in at 160, but the night of the fight,
nobody.
My whole point.
So when you got somebody that's used to weighing 147 and coming in 155 or 157 and fighting somebody who weighing in at 160 and coming in 170, 175, that's too much of a difference.
So that's why I'm saying you cannot, if you fighting for a welterweight belt, 147 to 159. You cannot come over 159.
See, but I'm
gonna tell you this. Look, you're
obscuring what you're saying though. It's either you fighting at middleweight or you not.
You're not fighting at middleweight. You can't come over 159.
First of all,
that would eliminate. That would be welterweight and the junior middleweight top.
No, it wouldn't.
Yes, it would.
No, it would not. Because anything over 154 is considered middleweight.
I just said, so you eliminate that junior middleweight class and you have welterweights and junior middleweights fighting each other. 159 is your limit.
That don't make
147 to 159 would be your limit.
It's too much weight.
No, because Alan, you wouldn't sit there and say that somebody who's fighting at 147, you're going to allow somebody to weigh in at 159 fighting against a welterweight?
Right. That don't make sense.
No, look, if you're a welterweight, you shouldn't weigh in on your weigh-in day no more than 147.
Right.
Anything now, if you're talking about middleweight, now, yeah, you can say anything from 148 on up. That could be middleweight, but think about it. Somebody coming from 147.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody fighting somebody legitimately 160.
Yeah, 160,
Too much of a
and
weight
he can't get up to 160 as like Floyd never weighed in really at 154.
Right.
He get close at like say I get to 156, 157. You know what I'm saying? And this dude, okay, that's the weigh-in. He weigh in at 160.
Mm-hmm.
The night of the fight, I might hydrate to 165, and he at 180.
Right.
I need to look into this a little more.
Batman boxing talk, man.
We out.
We
man.
out.